Two, my parents.
That's it?
And that's it.
Not your aunts or uncles or grandparents?
Well, my parents and, of course, their siblings and their parents.
What language?
Spanish. Because we were in the military, and we're overseas in Bermuda, and the military doctor, advised my parents that it would be best for us if we only learned the English language.
How long did you live there and when did you come here?
We lived there 2 years, and then we came back to Texas. But this was not in the southern part, it was in the northern, in Abilene. So once again, it was the same, not too many Spanish speaking.
So you went to school there and you went to school here? Not in Bermuda, you didn't go to school?
Correct, yeah. I went to Abilene and then later to Austin. Well, at the time that we were in Bermuda, it was an part English held island, and the islanders were all had the English British accent, and that might have been one of the reasons why the doctor felt it would be a problem. I know when we came back to the States, everyone couldn't believe that a Hispanic child had an English accent, and the three of us all had an English accent. I don't know. I think about that, and I can't see why it would have been a problem. I didn't understand that.
So you didn't learn any at all, even when you were little?
Just a little bit, just about what you would learn in school. A negative consequence just to them? No.
Or to you?
No. Oh, yes. Oh, I regret it. I'm sure they do, because they would love for me to know Spanish, but I regret it because we live in San Antonio, and just the Spanish language would have helped a lot. Regretful. I wish I had learned.
Why?
It's just, I would have liked to have been able to talk to my grandparents. I would like to be able to converse with people when I'm in Mexico or in a group of just Spanish-speaking people.
Don't you understand Spanish, though? Some?
Some, not enough.
Did you ever try to learn it? Or did you ever...
Just the usual in school.
When did you start feeling this way? You didn't try to ask your parents to teach you?
It was probably in elementary school. Just, it's with the grandparents. not having an idea what they were saying, and almost being scared that they were going to ask us a question and we wouldn't be able to respond. We had no idea what they were saying.
Did you watch Spanish TV growing up and listen to Spanish music?
Very little. Just when we were forced to. I was always uncomfortable at family gatherings on my mom's side because everybody was primarily Spanish speaking. I had no idea what was being said, who they were talking about. It could have been me, and as kids we were just very quiet and didn't participate in anything at the conversations, and just sort of sat back at the back of the room, not knowing what to do, what to say. And if somebody spoke to us, it was always, look at Mom, what could they have said to us? They're talking to us. Oh, just briefly, just that same thing at times of family gatherings, and always thinking back, and a lot of wishful thinking that she had maybe spent a little more time in trying to teach us that. I remember your grandfather. He had a convention to go to in Mexico, and he was going to be giving a speech to the air traffic controllers over there about some of the rules and regulations of the United States, and he was very embarrassed to speak Spanish because he had sort of lost a little bit of his language and knew that maybe it wasn't coming out quite right, and didn't want to be put down in any way. So when he could, he would use English rather than Spanish and try to get by that way rather than be embarrassed with his dialect. Grandma has always kept up with her Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never heard Grandpa speaking in Spanish, just very rarely, like maybe when he was talking to his mom when she was still alive.
You know what? When we go to Grandma's, she would talk to him in Spanish, and he doesn't answer her in Spanish. He answers her in English.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't want to talk to her in Spanish.
Why do you think Grandpa doesn't want to speak Spanish?
Because he's embarrassed of his dialect.
Even in front of just us? Even in front of just his family?
Yes, yes. Even though we wouldn't be able to catch anything, but he knows that he'll say something wrong. And
Do you think you felt disconnected from your culture because you didn't speak the native language?
yes, I did.
Why?
And felt that way whenever, once again, at family gatherings. And living in San Antonio, where the Hispanic culture is just so prominent, you miss out on a lot.
How would you feel if they made it mandatory that all students were bilingual?
That would be great. That would only be a benefit. I don't see how that would be harmful in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the language is being lost as the generations. Well, in the United States, the language is being lost with the generation growth. Each generation learns less and less of what their parents and grandparents and such knew. So. that's more prejudice talking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how it would harm in any way.
So, do you think your brothers and sisters feel the same way? Sad that they didn't learn, or regretful that they didn't learn Spanish?
Yes, I do.
Disappointed?
Why?
Because I wish I learned it.
Why do you think that they didn't teach it to you?
Because they always said it was harder to learn English than Spanish.
How do you think your life would be different if you knew both?
Nowadays, you really do need to learn another language.
Why?
Because most jobs ask for people if they know different languages.
You think they regret not teaching you Spanish?
My mother, maybe. I didn't at first, but I wished I did learn Spanish.
Why?
So you can, when they say things, you would like to know what they're asking you. Like when your grandparents ask you a question, you don't know how to respond to the question without
Did they know any English?
very little. And when I worked at the nursing home, there was a couple people, older people that would speak to me in Spanish, and I would say, sorry, I don't understand. I only know English. And I wish I could have answered them.
Do you think your family thought less of you because you didn't speak Spanish?
I always felt that way. I could almost see my grandparents just shaking their head like, that's a shame that they have no idea what we're saying, and always felt that we were
Awkward.
inferior.
I used to feel awkward. I would be at a celebration or a wedding or something. There they are talking, and with me, like they have to speak English to me, but everybody else, they speak Spanish.
Yeah, I always felt inferior. Even my cousins were taught, but Spanish being, I guess, living closer to the border towns, maybe the community spoke more Spanish and they could pick up on that, but not being raised among a large group of Hispanics, I always felt inferior.
What would you tell parents who spoke a language who were considering not teaching their children that language? What advice would you give them?
I would ask them to reconsider, because having a second language is a benefit that would help them in their life. I can see a lot of ways that would help them rather than harm. I would ask that they think about that.